Long ago, in the land of Egypt, a baby boy was born. His name was Moses. Pharaoh, the ruler of Egypt, had ordered all baby boys to be thrown into the Nile River. But Moses' mother wanted to save him. She placed him in a basket and hid it among the reeds by the riverbank. Pharaoh's daughter found the baby and took pity on him. She named him Moses, which means drawn from the water. Moses grew up in Pharaoh's palace, unaware of his true heritage. He lived a life of privilege and comfort. Little did he know his destiny lay elsewhere. His life was about to change forever. As Moses grew older, he learned about his people, the Israelites. They were enslaved by the Egyptians and forced to work hard labor. One day Moses saw an Egyptian overseer beating an Israelite slave. Anger filled Moses' heart. He struck down the Egyptian and hid the body. But the truth came out. Pharaoh learned of Moses' actions and ordered his death. Moses had to flee Egypt to save his own life. He journeyed east and found refuge in the land of Midian. There, he married and lived a simple life as a shepherd. Though far from Egypt, Moses could not forget his people's suffering. One day, while tending his flock, Moses saw a strange sight. A bush was engulfed in flames, yet it did not burn. As Moses approached, God spoke to him from the fire. God told Moses to return to Egypt and free the Israelites from slavery. Moses was afraid. "Who am I," he asked, "to go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt?" God reassured Moses, promising to be with him. He gave Moses signs to prove his power to Pharaoh. With newfound courage and faith in God, Moses set out on his mission to liberate his people. Moses returned to Egypt with his brother Aaron. Together they stood before Pharaoh. "Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, let my people go, that they may hold a feast to me in the wilderness." Pharaoh scoffed. "Who is the Lord that I should obey his voice and let Israel go? I do not know the Lord, and moreover I will not let Israel go." Pharaoh's heart was hardened. He refused to acknowledge God or release the Israelites. Despite Moses' pleas, Pharaoh remained unmoved. He would not let the Israelites go free. God would have to show his power to Pharaoh in a way he could not ignore. Section 5. The Plagues of Egypt. Pharaoh's Defiance. God sent a series of plagues upon Egypt to convince Pharaoh to free the Israelites. Each plague demonstrated God's power over nature and the Egyptian gods. The Nile River turned to blood, making the water undrinkable. Swarms of frogs invaded the land, covering the ground and filling the houses. Gnats and flies tormented the Egyptians, making their lives miserable. Pestilence killed the livestock, while boils and sores afflicted the people. Yet, with each plague, Pharaoh's heart grew harder. He refused to listen to Moses and acknowledge the power of God. Section 6. Darkness and Death, the 10th Plague. The plagues grew increasingly severe. Hailstorms destroyed crops and property. Locusts devoured everything that remained. For 3 days a thick darkness covered the land of Egypt. Finally, God sent the 10th and most devastating plague. The firstborn of every Egyptian family and every firstborn animal died in a single night. Only the Israelites were spared, for they had followed God's instructions. Pharaoh's heart was finally broken. He had lost his own son to the plague. Overwhelmed with grief and fear, he finally agreed to let the Israelites go. Section 7. Parting the Sea, Escape from Egypt. This is one of the most dramatic and pivotal moments in the history of the Israelites. The Israelites left Egypt in haste, carrying their belongings on their backs. They had been slaves for generations, and now, they were finally free. The journey was long and arduous, but their spirits were high as they marched towards the Promised Land. But Pharaoh, his heart hardened once more, pursued them with his army. He could not bear the thought of losing his workforce and was determined to bring them back to Egypt. The sight of the Egyptian chariots striking fear into the hearts of the Israelites. As the Israelites reached the Red Sea, they saw Pharaoh's chariots approaching. The vast expanse of water before them seemed like an insurmountable barrier. Panic began to set in as they realized they were trapped. Trapped between the sea and the Egyptian army, the Israelites cried out in fear. They felt hopeless and questioned their decision to leave Egypt. The fear of death loomed large over them. "Was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you have taken us away to die in the wilderness?" they asked Moses. Moses, however, remained calm and resolute. He raised his staff, a symbol of his faith and leadership. With a mighty wind, God parted the waters of the Red Sea, creating a dry path for the Israelites to cross. The wind roared and the waters obeyed, forming towering walls on either side. It was a miraculous sight, a testament to the power and protection of their God. They walked through the sea on dry ground, the waters forming walls on either side. The sun shone on the distant shore, a beacon of hope and freedom. The Israelites moved forward with renewed faith, knowing that they were under divine protection. This moment marked the beginning of their journey to the Promised Land, a journey filled with trials, but also with the unwavering belief in their deliverance. Section 8. A Journey of Faith Through the Desert. When Pharaoh's army attempted to follow, the waters crashed down upon them, drowning the entire force. The Israelites were safe at last. They had witnessed God's power and deliverance firsthand. Their journey was far from over. They faced hunger, thirst, and the challenges of the desert. Yet God provided for them. He sent manna, a bread-like substance, from heaven to eat. He brought forth water from a rock to quench their thirst. Through it all, God guided and protected them. He was their shepherd, leading them toward the Promised Land. Section 9. The Covenant and the Commandments, Laws from God. 3 months after leaving Egypt, the Israelites arrived at Mount Sinai. The mountain shook with thunder and lightning as God descended upon it. He summoned Moses to the top of the mountain. There, God made a covenant, a sacred agreement, with the Israelites. He promised to bless and protect them if they would obey his laws. He gave them the 10 Commandments, a set of moral and ethical guidelines for living a righteous life. The 10 Commandments taught the Israelites to worship only God, to honor their parents, to respect life, and to be honest and just in their dealings with others. Section 10. A New Land, a New Hope Reaching Canaan. This chapter marks a significant milestone in the journey of the Israelites, a journey filled with trials, tribulations, and unwavering faith. For 40 long years, the Israelites wandered the vast and unforgiving wilderness. Their journey was not just a physical one, but also a spiritual odyssey. They faced numerous trials and temptations, enduring the harsh elements and scarcity of resources. Yet, through it all, they learned to trust in God and rely on his divine guidance. Their faith was tested, but it grew stronger with each passing day. Finally, the long-awaited day arrived when they reached the border of Canaan, the land that God had promised to their ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It was a moment of immense joy and relief. To prepare for their entry, Moses sent 12 spies into the land to scout it out and bring back a report. These spies were tasked with assessing the land's fertility, its inhabitants, and the fortifications of its cities. The spies returned with reports of a land flowing with milk and honey, abundant in fruit and produce. However, they also spoke of powerful enemies and heavily fortified cities that seemed insurmountable. Fear and doubt began to spread among the Israelites. Some were afraid and wanted to turn back, fearing the challenges that lay ahead. The prospect of facing such formidable foes made them question their ability to conquer the land. But Joshua, Moses' successor and a man of great faith, stood before the people and encouraged them to be strong and courageous. He spoke with conviction, reminding them of God's promises and his unwavering support. Joshua's words resonated deeply with the Israelites. He reminded them that God was with them and would fight for them, just as he had done throughout their journey. With renewed strength and unity, the people found reassurance and hope, ready to face the challenges ahead and claim the land that was rightfully theirs. Section 11. The Legacy of Moses, a Story for the Ages. Moses, forbidden by God to enter the Promised Land, climbed Mount Nebo. This was a significant moment not just for Moses but for the entire Israelite community. The climb was arduous, symbolizing the many trials and tribulations Moses had faced throughout his life. Each step he took was a testament to his unwavering faith and dedication to his people. From there, he gazed upon the land that awaited his people. The view was breathtaking, a land flowing with milk and honey, a promise of a brighter future. It was a bittersweet moment for Moses, knowing he would not set foot in this land, yet feeling a deep sense of fulfillment that his people would finally find their home. He blessed them and passed on his leadership to Joshua. This act was more than a mere transfer of power. It was a sacred ritual, ensuring that the vision and mission would continue. Joshua, chosen by God and mentored by Moses, was now entrusted with leading the Israelites into the Promised Land. Then, at the age of 120, Moses died. His death marked the end of an era, but his teachings and leadership left an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of his people. The mourning was profound, as they had lost not just a leader, but a father figure, a guide, and a prophet. Though he did not live to see the Israelites settle in Canaan, his legacy lived on. The journey through the desert was long and arduous, filled with challenges and obstacles. Yet the spirit of Moses continued to guide them, his teachings providing strength and hope. He was remembered as a great prophet, leader, and lawgiver. His laws and teachings became the foundation of a new society, guiding the Israelites in their daily lives and spiritual practices. Monuments and statues were erected in his honor, and his story was passed down through generations. The story of Moses and the Exodus became a source of hope and inspiration for generations to come. It was a story that transcended time, resonating with people of all ages and backgrounds. Elders would recount the tales to children, ensuring that the legacy of Moses would never be forgotten. It is a story of faith, courage, and the enduring power of freedom. The Exodus represented the triumph of the human spirit, the unyielding quest for freedom, and the belief that with faith, anything is possible. It was a testament to the resilience and strength of the Israelites. It reminds us that even in the face of great adversity, God is with us, and with His help, all things are possible. The story of Moses serves as a powerful reminder that no matter the challenges we face, with faith and determination, we can overcome and achieve greatness. It is a timeless tale of hope, perseverance, and divine guidance.